miss me by my head. You're gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. For the long way round. 2 bottles of whiskey for the way. And I sure would like some sweet company. And I'm leaving tomorrow. What do you say? When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss me by my head. Gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss me by my head. Gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Can you hear me, Troy?
Yes, I can hear you.
So how's it going today?
Things are going well. Just trying to live and be happy and make it happen.
There we go. So can you give us an update as to where we are at this moment in this project?
Okay, well, the You Thought I Was Him project has actually entered into the second phase. The first phase was all of the laying the groundwork. We did a lot of great things during the first phase of it. We established the production team, and I got our social media together. We started getting our domain name for the website. We secured the artwork, and I'll talk about the artwork later because people who have been following us, they've seen a lot of different artwork, but that has a special meaning behind it. We've had our first community conversation back in December. We've had our first podcast in January. We've had our first writer's room and writing workshop. We've had our second podcast, and we've had our second, third, and fourth writers' room. So a lot of things are happening with the project, and actually leading up to what we're talking about tonight, involving the community and community arts, the role of the community and community arts, because this project was designed definitely with the community in mind. And then as we enter to the the second phase, we're still fundraising. We're still writing grants and trying to raise funds to make the project happen. Things are going well. I just want to publicly thank everyone who donated. I did a birthday fundraiser for the production, which will go towards setting and lighting and sound for the actual production. And we were able to raise $2,100. And I want to thank each person who donated to that, giving of your coins. We really appreciate that. And we will continue to fundraise as the project is partnering with Arena Players. And I am announcing tonight that the You Thought I Was Him auditions will be held June 12th, June 13th. I'm reading my prompter. June 13th, June 25th, 26th, and 27th. And so you can email us at youthoughtIwashim.com. You thought I was him at gmail.com.
Yes.
And
yes.
That way we can give you details of the audition, because this is a world premiere piece. And with that piece, things will be a little bit different when you're creating a brand new show, breathing life into characters for the first time. And because if you audition for a brand new work and you're cast in it, you will be in a workshop environment because it's a new work and the writers are writing, and you may get a monologue and that may change from one rehearsal to the next. So it's a lot of exciting things happening here on the community level for our community artists here in Baltimore with this project. That's my update. Ta-da!
So where we are, I mean, it's really moving. I thought a year would feel like forever, and we're almost there. The summer's almost here, so we're technically going into finishing up the script and going into casting, and that means rehearsals are right around the corner. So I'm really excited about where we are and the progress we are all on.
Yeah.
in this process in our individual places. We're going to bring Tracie on in just a few seconds, but she's going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the writers' room and where we
But let
are.
me
Go ahead.
briefly let me give a little preview of what's to happen in phase 3 of the
Okay.
project. When we get to phase 3, which will be in June, that
Mm-hmm.
will be the completing of the writing of the script, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the final table readings and the rewrites and all of that stuff will take place. The auditions of the actors, I just mentioned that, June 12th, 13th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. And then we get into the rehearsals where we'll move into the Arena Playhouse. Can't wait to get into their newly renovated black box space on the third floor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a marketing campaign will start with promotions of the show. That's when you'll see the official final artwork for the show. Tickets will go on sale in June. And like I mentioned, we worked with arena players and doing a special thing where tickets will go on sale June the 11th, and through
Mm-hmm.
September the 11th, you'll be able to pre-purchase them at a special rate. And then after September the 11th, you'll have to pay the full rate. So that's going to be a big thing. And
Early
then
bird.
early bird gets the cheap ticket. And I'm happy to announce we will have some preview performances
Mm-hmm.
I just confirmed that with Donald Owens, the artistic director at Arena.
Mm-hmm.
David, I hope he told you about it. Um, and we
Gotcha.
will do. No, David knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we
Good.
will do 3 performances that will be previews, and then the production opens up on November the 11th
Yep.
through November 27th. And so I'm excited, and I just think that this project is very important to Baltimore because it's bringing together a lot of entities, the
Right.
younger generation, the middle generation, the older generation. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is that we're squashing that whole thing about generations. It's
Mm-hmm.
just us working together.
Closing the gaps.
There you go. See, you always got the right way of saying it.
So so we're gonna bring Tracie on to talk about the writers' room, which is really exciting to sit in and be a fly on the wall for that. So Tracie Jiggetts, you ready? Just give me a thumbs up, and we're gonna bring you right on. Boom. We'll unmute you.
Unmute me,
There
baby.
we go.
I
Tracie
had to mute
Jiggetts.
myself because I was in here eating these rice cakes.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
I
keeping it
brought
healthy.
wine to the
Yeah.
meeting. I brought wine, so you know me.
Oh, well, see, you got wine. I got rice cakes in the strawberry ministry.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, I
all
forgot the good
snacking.
strawberry. Yeah,
How
so
you
what's
doing,
going
Miss
on?
Jiggetts?
What's going on?
We handling things. We missed you the last podcast, but you was handling business.
Yes, it's
Um,
so good of you to bring that up. Thank you for, circling back and letting everybody know because they didn't know, Nate. Nobody knew
but we
that
miss
I
you when you're
wasn't
not
here.
here, Miss Tracie.
Mm,
It's
mm-mm,
obvious. It's not like you just fade into the back.
mm-mm. Nobody knew I was not here but you.
So we're
And
going to
here
tell
you
that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the writers' room and what's been happening and who's all involved and such.
Okay, well, I would love to give people that information. Can you hear me? You can hear me well?
We can hear you
Because
very
I'm about
well.
to go into the spiel.
Very
Okay,
well.
well, my name is Tracie Jiggetts, and I am a proud writer for the You Thought I Was Him project, but I am also the proud choreographer for this good project here, right? So I'm going to take a moment to talk about, You Thought I Was Him is labeled a theatrical mixtape. Yes,
Mm,
and that is
mm.
going to be a layering of sounds, a layering of rhythms, right? Music that crosses, all genres, all cultures, and being able to take this new work because Troy Burton is our producer, but he is a sound engineer, a gatherer, if you will. So the soundtrack and working with dancers in the community and being able to create something from scratch as far as the music and as far as a theatrical mixtape is concerned. So that's really exciting. As far as the writers' room, we are on our fourth
Fourth
writers' room
county.
meeting. Yes. And what that means, and let me take you into the writer's room, right? So we meet together. It's a vibe, right? There are candles lit. There is good energy, right? We are greeting each other with love and, really excited and understand why we're all there. It is a Troy Burton production, so you're going to eat well. You're going to have you a nice little victual, whether it's a snack or a orange juice ministry. He gonna give you something to make sure we okay. And I say that to say it has been a building of community from the beginning, right? You sit and you break bread with each other. You sit and you take moments to get into each other's lives and understand where we're all coming from, because we are all so different. So the team is myself, Tracie Jiggetts, right? We have the greatness that is Easy Jackson, who is a writer. We have Derek Watkins, who is a writer, and we have Sheila Gaskins, who is also a writer. We have also been blessed. We got Miss Jackie Terry, and if you know anything about the words of Jackie Terry, they actually go straight to your soul. So we have all of those writers in the room, and we meet. And even if people cannot be there in person, they Zoom in. And our first writers' rooms really have been built on developing these characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is going to make our characters different? So we started with building the character. So you're going to meet Kevin. Yes, you're going to meet Kevin Sr., his father. You're going to meet Uncle Brother. You're going to meet Martique. You're going to meet Cousin. All of these people are going to come alive for you on stage, and each of them is an important role of society. Understanding that much of the time in the writer's room is going over the community conversations. So what Troy did was bring together the community to have these conversations about all the issues of Black men, right? And all the issues of society, right? It is, but definitely focus on that aspect. And what we were able to do is take real people, real stories, right? The meat of it and real emotions, right? Because sometimes we're going to hear a story, we may not use that story, but we understand the emotion, right? So we're going to build off of that and make our world. Then once we did character development, who are these people? Where are they from? Where did he go to school? What do he like? Troy will say, what's the character's favorite song? Like off jump, getting these things into our mind. So the writing process is intense, and but we have each other's back, and we even in, and with all of our different voices, it is Troy's job to take all of that writing and put it in the cauldron and put the magic together. And yes, and cooking with Troy Burton. So that is a really exciting process to see. So the community conversations, the coming together, the building of the characters. Once we built the character, we had to build the world that this takes place in. So this takes place in Baltimore, right? It takes place in West Baltimore specifically, and we're going to get into some things, some neighborhoods, some information, and try to entertain as well as educate about this great city of ours. So that is what is going on in the writer's room. We have a Google Drive. We write. We got to put it in the drive. Troy Burton is he's a taskmaster. Get it in there. Stop playing with me. My drive is empty. What is going on today? But that makes it, we understand that we're all passionate about it. And it's encouraging to work on something so fresh. And the concept of a theatrical mixtape, right? Troy's mind is something, because we started, the nigga show was a chroeopoem, yes? Mm-hmm. And so we had the great chroeopoem time, and then from there we went into the theatrical mixtape. So really using music as a driving force, and again the words and the rhythm. So that is the You Thought I Was Him writer's room update. What?
And I want to say something about this. And this is just a little something that I wrote down because I forget stuff. I'm 55 now. I forget stuff all the time.
I'm
So
55.
right. So you know, just like remixing a song,
Mm-hmm.
this show, like we said, is a theatrical mixtape. And this project, well, the project and the show, because there is a project with all these different entities where you talk about podcasts, community conversations, writers' room. That's a program. That's a whole program, a community arts program.
Mm-hmm.
But this project it's about being fearless and taking risks. And I'm going to emphasize this, and I don't want to offend anyone, but it is not about the European way of presenting live theater. And so, as people of color, you know, we make our own rules for presenting our stories,
Mm-hmm.
experiences on the stage.
Right.
So,
Right.
y'all know what I'm trying to say, right?
Get it.
You know,
Get it.
so
It's
no
for us
disrespect to
by
anybody,
us.
but if you're coming to look for a
Mm.
stage production where the rules of theater has been followed in terms of how a stage production should be
Structure.
structured, this is not your show. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to come with an open mind because the rules are changing of how you can present live theater. So you will see monologues, you will see all of the elements that you may see of a chroeopoem, of a musical, you know, but there are some other things culturally that we're infusing in how we tell this story. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
said enough. I'm done with that.
We
So
get that.
you so we're gonna keep it moving on. We have two really special guests today based on our topic, the role of community in community theater. And both of our guests for today really represent two different sides of that all works together in one unit. We have Miss Roz Cauthen, a really special guest to all of us today. First met Roz, just walked into our rehearsal at Towson for Kaumba, a theater group that I think all of us, me and Tracie, have been in, and Troy has definitely supported and been a part of himself. And watching how she works and very organic. So the way that you just express this project is what I've become used to because of Roz Cauthen. So we're going to bring Miss Roz on. And then shortly after that, we're going to bring on Mr. David Mitchell. So let's bring on Roz first. Hello.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Ross.
Hi, good people. How y'all doing?
We're great. We're great. We're great. How you doing, Roz? We
Um,
just picked up your information, but we just
Oh,
get right into it. How you been?
I've been well, living the dream, living the dream. Happy to be in a number with these talented people.
And if you don't know Roz, you probably met her either at Kaumba or Center Stage, and now as the executive director, the lady in charge at the Baltimore School of the Arts, uh, creating history and reconnecting the history of that school with a black woman at the helm, giving out orders and making things happen. So how you been?
I've been well. You know, I'm sitting here listening to this conversation and I'm so inspired. Like listening to Troy, listening to Tracie, talking about the organic nature of this project, talking about breaking rules and being fearless and taking risks. I was just writing down stuff like celebrating our great city, you know, that elements of music, dance, rap, writing. That's where I love, like that's where I live. That's where our culture is. And like what Troy was saying, when you think about more Europeanized forms of artistic expression, it's kind of like a little more black and white. Like you color in this box, then you
Mm-hmm.
color in that box.
Right.
You go to a dance concert, then you might go to opera, then you might go see a play. And they all feel very distinctly different. But I feel like what we do as Black people, our cultural expression has always been a blending of things. We don't live in boxes and we don't color in between the lines. So if we want to have a choreo poem, mixtape, musical / intergalactic party, we're going to do that. We're going to do all of it because it feels good to our soul. It's what feeds us. And thinking about the role of community in this project in particular, and just thinking about the role of community in the Baltimore artistic scene, it's so it's so interwoven into who we are. Like the names, you know, Jackie, Easy, everybody on this call, like we've been knowing each other for years and working with each other for years. And I think it's something that's we're tied to each other in a soul, type of way, in a spiritual type of way, in an artistic type of way. I mean, because that's another thing for Black people in our aesthetic, and really going even back to the 70s with Amiri Baraka and that whole Black arts movement. It was always about the spirit. It was always about the soul. Like, some people do art to entertain, and that's fine. We need to laugh. We need to sing. We need to dance. We need to get it out. We need to entertain each other, right? Like Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. That was very entertaining to me. That was a moment of entertainment, whether people want to debate Black politics about it or not. That was entertainment. But we know that what we do is also ritual. It's our art is tied to our spirit. And so I know that You Thought I Was Him is going to be an outpouring of emotion, of spirit, and really of people healing. Like, I feel like what Troy does, what Tracie does, what you do, Nate, is you allow a chance for people to heal from their past hurt.
Right.
It's like writing a deep monologue about something that you experienced or went through, or something your brother or sister went through. That catharsism is like, it's real for us. And so I know this is going to be a major project. What I love about Troy and his whole production, what he does, he like lays it out for a year. Like you said, it's not just a show. You're not just coming to a play. It's a whole movement. You know, you're going to get this work. You're going to get this work. You're going to get this conversation today. You're going to get this conversation, this writing, this entertainment. You're going to get it. So that whole art, like you said, Nate, I know y'all been talking about it for about a year now. But
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes, please.
You, first of all, I want to thank you publicly, because you planted the seed of this whole project. When you came to me at center stage and said, I want you to do something with the Trayvon Moments piece, that's when we did You Thought I Was Him, the short film. It was a 14-minute film connected to that program. And that just laid the groundwork. And that's the whole thing of community, reaching out, saying, I know the artists in the community and I know what they can do. Let me get something started with them. And that planted the seed. So when this whole thought of coming out of the pandemic and doing something, because things are just getting better, we are people.
Oh, his screen froze. You back on, Troy? So we're going to bring you back. I'm going to take you out and then come back in. Everybody else can hear?
Yeah, I can hear. That was a blessing to hear what Troy was saying just now. Like, you never know the seeds you plant for people. And that was how many years ago?
But you know what, Roz? I was going to give you a shout out myself, right? Because even when you mentioned Amiri Baraka, I was like, and I think, Nate, we was just talking about this. I was like, I got to perform his work for him.
Yeah.
Yes, and at the after party, sipping cocktails with the good man. So we've been banging for a whole lot of years, and I just really appreciate your whole life. So Troy, you back? Oh, what happened?
No, he coming back. But something you said, Roz, earlier in terms of what we bring as Black people or people of color to the arts, a big, interesting fact, we're trying to rise to the top of this industry. And actually, as you study theater history, it started with us. It started with our rituals. It started with our traditions and our way of doing things. And now we've been many of the things that we create, BSA, it gets usurped and turned into something else. And we then have to fight to be a part of it or be taken seriously in it. So it's very important that we still create our work, that we tell our stories our way, and not try to fit into that cookie cutter image of what theater is supposed to be, as Troy was explaining. You back with us, Troy?
I'm back. The devil is a liar trying to get me on this whatever.
I want to shout out real quick. We have Cauthen. He just gave us some hearts, as well as Mr. Joy Roney from Uganda. So shout out to our international viewers. Just say hello.
Tell us hello,
Cauthen. Just tell us where you're from. So in terms of where you are with community, can you define the role of community in community arts? Roz, we all can, but I'm gonna start with Roz.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we could have community arts without community. Like that's where it starts. And I know David is going to come on, but we were talking about this recently about how when you look at Baltimore, you have long-standing institutions like Arena Players, like Blake, like so many others that we can think of that are like Blacks and Wax. You know, like there's so many institutions right here in Baltimore that are still sustained and still sustain us as artists. And so recognizing that we couldn't do what we do without our wonderful Baltimore community. And not just the people who perform, like we got some real dope performers in Baltimore, like a number of people involved in this project, but the people that come out and support, the ushers, the ticket takers, you know, the people who make the costumes and the sound and the podcast and
volunteers,
the volunteers,
personalities in themselves. They bring so much,
and we love them, right? We love them. We love to see them, to connect with them again, and so it's a beautiful sort of arts ecosystem right here in Baltimore. Like I know y'all probably had this experience before where people will ask you like, why didn't you go to New York? Or why didn't you go to LA? Or why are you still in Baltimore? Atlanta, right? And I know, not knocking those cities. I think those cities are great as well. But those of us who know Baltimore, if you know, you know, right? We got it right here.
And Roz is speaking from a real place, being a transplant from the Carolinas, and we got her. She's stuck. She won't leave.
I won't leave. I ain't going nowhere. As much as my family try to beg me and people try to move me to other states, I can't. I mean, I just got love for our city, y'all.
So real quick, can Tracie and Troy, can y'all answer that? And then we're going to bring David in.
Troy, you go first.
Well, you know, the role of the community and community arts, it means a lot of different things. It means, you know, we talked about like being the volunteers and being involved with our historical organizations, but it also means helping to preserve them. You know, doing your part to say, hey, we want community arts. We want our artists to thrive in the city, you know, from being a board member, getting on the board and, you know, doing your best due diligence to just make sure that you're fundraising and you're serving the organization to down to just spreading the word, just buying a subscription, being a part of what's there to, you know, to support and not looking at the artists that are here when they produce things locally. It's like, well, okay, yeah, that ticket shouldn't be $25 because y'all local. That ticket should be $10. No, the artists, we have artists of value here. And they need, so what, they're not playing at the Lyric Theater or, you know, major houses. No, they're playing in the small houses. They deserve to, you know, be supported because they're going to put on a great show, maybe even better than some of these quote unquote professional shows playing in some of these professional houses. So it's about nurturing. It's the role of the community is to nurture the artists and be there. That's all I got to say.
Well, I will say the role of community in community arts. I'm going to say open doors and collaboration. Right? It is
emphasis on the open doors.
Yeah, so I'll start with open doors, but this project specifically has opened my eyes to what it means to make people a part of something, right? Because when people know their stories have been heard, they want to see the show. When people know that, you know, their music is being, it is not just these people who you never heard of going to show up in your town and perform a nice show. And not saying that can't be a great show, right? But what this is people who are actually a part of it. Like it expands so much further than us. And that is what I mean by open doors. So community conversations, bringing together a group of writers like this from all different styles and fashions, bringing together the musicians, we got the DJ, we have so many different branches to this tree, right? And it's all branching out. So open doors, being welcoming. When people are a part of something, they're going to show up. They're going to show up because it is theirs. It's not just ours. It is theirs. So that is the Open Door Community Ministry and collaboration. I was going to say the people right here. We have a Safi here. We have a, at any given time, we can all be working on a project together, separate, over here, come over there, knowing that we can lean on each other for support. But really, I think that at the core, it's trust. Right? You trust. I'm gonna call Tracie. She gonna do this. This what she gonna show up with. I trust because we have built and worked together and had that open door. This person. So it's about giving a little piece of that to everybody because that's a little bit of what's missing. So that is the community and community arts for me.
Can I throw something in
Go
here?
Go ahead.
Real quick.
I
made a suggestion privately, but I'm going to make it publicly, that I know the city is trying to get back to doing Artscape, and I know they are developing a plan, but I also made a suggestion, and I'll make it again, that one of the things that the city should do is actually divide that budget up with our arts districts here in Baltimore. Evenly divide that budget up and allow our art districts to produce community arts events like Artscape. Until we're able to do it, we'll come out of COVID on a major scale, do it and let our arts district do, and hire local artists to actually be the performing artists of it, so that our communities will know what they have here. I am always surprised when people see something locally and then they say, I didn't know that person was from here. You know, I didn't know this person, you know, or this organization. But let our arts districts, let them produce community art, smaller artscapes. And then maybe one day when we're able to get back together and do the full artscape like we've done it in the past, or a reimagined artscape, you know, at least we've kind of connected with the communities. The people in the communities know what's happening with the arts. Okay, I'm done with that.
But beyond that, we've as Kaumba, Roz and I, we've gone on trips where we've gone to Atlanta and the National Black Theater Festival, where they are, you know, things are spread out. So even if they bring it back as it was, let it branch out and take part in other parts of the city, so people coming here can see those other parts and bring those parts up as well, financially and economically as well. But before we go, well, as we go further, we're going to bring on David Mitchell. So everybody move over a little bit. We're going to bring him in. How are you,
Hey,
sir?
Dr.
Hello,
David.
hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Dr. Mitchell.
Man, this has been a heavy conversation for me. And first, I wanted to thank y'all for inviting me to the table. I really appreciate it. I had the thought early on. I said, "Oh, these are some OG community artists, and I'm joining in to participate and give my 2 cents." And all that you all have been talking about, I'm trying to keep the frame in mind, right? The frame in mind is the role of community and community arts. And what keeps coming to mind for me is we need community to show up. And in order for them to show up, we got to create the space, right? And in that space, we have to give them agency, right? And it's got to be a safe space, right? And I think, Troy, you do a really good job of creating that safe space and giving people agency in that space. I think, we're in an interesting time in history. Not only have we moved through a pandemic, but a lot of things have come to light in the way of suffering. And as I think about the community, specifically here in Baltimore City, and the suffering that people endure from one day to the next day, from 1 week to the next week, it's the arts that oftentimes provide a space and opportunity to escape and or process trauma. You understand? And so when I think about community arts, look, I never classified myself as a community artist. It's just something I just ended up being immersed in particularly when I came to Baltimore City. But when I think about my role with Arena Players and my role over the past, I guess now 17 years in Baltimore, creating space and opportunity for artists, really, it's always been about connecting with the community and finding out what the challenges are, what the desires are, what the wants are, on the part of the community. And I kind of evolved into a place of wanting to put their stories, at the forefront of everything. And I think that's our responsibility as people that do community theater, is to be caretakers of the community and make sure that they are always considered, Dang, I just brought the conversation down. Then I brought it like,
No.
No, we in it. You see we were drawn in.
yeah.
But doing programs like the Urban Art Leadership Program, creating spaces for people so they can achieve and not just be a part of what is already there in terms of, and there's nothing wrong with white organizations, but we have to uplift our own. To say that Arena Players is the oldest continuously operating community theater in the United States, and then, and then what? And see how it's being treated by its community and its powers that be that can actually bring funding into it. And shout out to them. They've gotten a lot of funding this year to bring it forward. But we've been waiting on it. We've been waiting
for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people in line waiting on that the proper support from both the city and the state in order to do for the community. We've been here a while, decades.
Right.
And I'll say that actually the city and the state, they actually need to see the fact that the Arena Players can hold its own.
It's been holding its own.
Right, but it needs help, just like any other institution. I've watched the Playhouse be very resourceful in very techniques in making sure the doors stay open, making sure that there's always something on that stage and people are nurtured, but it's almost like saying, okay, if we're not up for fair game, we still gonna hold our own if we have to on our own.
Absolutely. Right.
So, and
that's us as a people, as a people, we know how to thrive. We know how to survive, but we want to do more than survive. We want to thrive. We want to be on par with the rest of our white counterparts in the way of institutions and creating cultural spaces like that. So.
Well, I thought it was interesting during COVID. It was like most of the other theaters in town closed down for some period of time, wasn't doing work. But I feel like Arena just kept doing stuff, whether it was youth theater or meetings or smaller gatherings of people. I felt like Arena, more than others, was committed to keeping its doors open and keeping the community flowing, even during COVID, in safe ways.
Arena was like, COVID, what's that?
No. We definitely took COVID serious, but like you're right, we stayed open because we had to stay open. It's just too many folks from our community that didn't have a safe place to go, right? Young people included, and so while we weren't able to do it
outside.
Right. Yeah. We weren't able to do full-on programming, so we pivoted. We said, okay, let's go ahead and make some masks because that's what.
But isn't that's ironic that the Arena was started because of there were a group of artists who had nowhere to go. They created their own, and it's like all these years later, it's still happening.
That's that resiliency. That's that rooted, like we got to do it. Like we don't have a choice. We do this because of our soul. It isn't always necessarily to make money or to do the next big thing or whatever. It's about, no, we do this for ourselves, for our people. I love walking through the doors of Arena and seeing, Miss Orange and Mr. Owens and David and Felicia and everybody that are there. We know we all are getting something from it. Like, that is an artistic home, as well as we have other artistic homes as well, and throughout the city. But I was thinking about something that David said and something that others have brought up on the call, which is about creating space and making opportunities for others. I think that's so powerful. And what I've seen with most of, I would say every project I've seen Troy working on is getting that investment from the artists and the community. at the very beginning. Like, it's not just like you're an actor, so I'm gonna call you when it's time for auditions, and you're a writer, so I'll call you then, and you got to stay in your lane and do your role. I don't think that's the type of work that any of us on this call are interested in completing. And it's like, no, from the beginning, we care about your voice, we care about what you say, we want your opinions, and then the community has a sense of ownership. I think like the wonderful Tracie was saying, people own it because they feel safe, they feel a part of it. And the more we can do that, the better. I know I got to somewhere in my career, 2 pivotal moments for me in my career. One, when I said, I'm not working for free anymore. Like, you just get to this point, you get to this point past your 20s, it's no more about exposures. Like, I'm not working for free. I'm not. And then another pivotal point in my career was when I said, if it don't feel good, I'm not doing it. Like, being in these plays and projects with people, and it's a bunch of stress and drama. You don't like working with each other. It's a lot of tension. You got to drag yourself to it every day. I don't want to do that. If it's not going to feel safe and open and supported, and it's something I want to be doing, why do it? Why do it? So I really felt that in my soul of like, we have to create these environments where people want to be there, creating art, telling their story, expressing, collaborating, sharing. And then I think we create powerful movements. Like, I don't think we know what we're doing totally, but I think 30, 40, 50 years from now, people are going to look back at Baltimore during this time of artistic incubation and say, wow, them Black folks in Baltimore was doing some experimental, Black folks in Baltimore in 2020 and 22 doing that crazy stuff.
But you see that happening already with films coming here and major artists coming here to add to the scene, even though their cameras rolling while they're doing it. But people are already seeing that. I guess my next question to everybody is, how do we, as this project has been in the significance of it, how do we introduce the community from the beginning, and not just because the grant says we have to have this diversity or this type of person or these amount of people? How do we incorporate that and make them a part of it, and almost like workforce development almost, and folding them into our projects beyond ticket sales? How do we do that?
I'm gonna go first and let y'all talk. Because the first thing that came to my mind with your question was mentoring. It is something so special about passing along the torch, especially in this arts thing, but it's not art specific, right? Because we know, everyone here know that there are parts of theater that people do that they never make the stage, right? But they can be mentored in arts education. They can be mentored in arts administration. They can be mentored in all of the backstage things, right? They can become all of those things. So allowing some sort of mentoring, some sort of passing on, I think is very important. And people want to be seen, right? They want to be seen and they want to be heard. So you welcome them by, again, creating, I'm so big on creating safe spaces, creating places where people are free to speak without judgment, understanding, you know, what those words will be used for. You're not just, gossiping. You're not just telling, is recognizing that our stories can heal. What you're holding on to, that story that you went through, right? And how you got through it can literally save my life. But we carry these things with us and they don't get a chance to get out. So I think you engage the community from the beginning by, again, exactly what's going on here, by making them a part of it, and not just the come and act, but no, come and do everything. Come learn the ins and the outs, pass this on to other people. And it's that each one reach one. So I gave you, you're going to go tell somebody else. Well, you know what they doing down there? That's fire. Boom, you're going to go tell somebody else. And that is how we conquer and bring the people in.
Well, Tracie, I want to piggyback off of that.
You better piggyback.
Just so happens during our first community conversation in December, there was a young man, Derek Watkins, who sat in the room of the community conversation. He was
Mhm.
very involved just as a community member, speaking, with talking about creating a production with all Black men. And
Mhm.
then Derek came to me a couple of weeks later and said, I want in on this. I want to
Mhm.
write. And I've I've never worked with Derek in the theater since I met him in school, but knowing him in this manner, saying, okay, fine, come on in the writer's room. There is community in the writer's room. You
In
know,
the
I
room.
didn't check his resume. I didn't say, submit to me all of these. He came in and he told stories.
Mhm.
And the way he expressed himself and the passion he showed, he found a safe space. And we said, okay, come on into the room. Now, I bet you by the time we get to the Playhouse and put this whole thing on stage, he's going to be an active member of Arena Players.
Mm.
Now,
Well,
I want to piggyback on that, talking about Baltimore and our love for our city. Derek Watkins, Baltimore. I taught his son Sakai at
mm.
Baltimore School for the Arts. He was a graduate, and while
Mhm.
Sakai was in the acting program at BSA, I was the head of the theater. I met his dad, and his dad would always say to me, "I love theater. I used to do theater. I got away from it for so long because life and raising my
Mhm.
son and work. I got away from theater, but I love theater." I guess his son probably graduated 5-6 years ago now, and to see that seed that Derek was expressing to me those years ago came back to now work with Troy. It's just like
Mhm.
that's amazing, and that's healing. And
Mhm.
it's when someone runs to me like, I want to be a part of that. That's saying a lot. When someone runs and say, I want to be a part, like as busy as I am, and people like, oh, Roz, we want you to do this, but we know you're so busy. I reached out to Troy and was like, Troy, put me in. When I'm coming on the podcast, I'm coming to writing room, put me in.
And
Mhm.
another member of our community conversation came to me and said, well, I can't write. I'm not a writer. I'm not an actor or anything. But guess what? I know groups and I know how to sell tickets. So
Mm.
it all of that is coming together,
We need
of
that.
having, and that's community. That's their role involved in our community arts.
Mm. Mr. David.
I mean, he just described Arena Players
Mhm.
from its conception.
Mhm.
His community coming to the table and they're like, well, I can do this. I'm not very interested in that. And we found a space for them to do what they
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
And I tell you, the height of our success was in all through the 90s, right? Like, I mean, everybody wanted to be a part of the possible dream, right? Is
Mm.
what they coined it at a point, and we're prayerful that we can get back to that space where everybody looks to the Playhouse just like they look at center stage, just like they look at every man, with the same enthusiasm, you know.
But I want to say, David, that when I came down to the Playhouse with this idea, it was never, well, we'll put it on paper and put it in the form of a proposal, all the things that I require when people come to me for a project. I just
Mhm.
came in just rattling off this idea, and you and Ms. Zonge and Donald, everybody just nodded their head and said, okay,
Mhm.
and it was like, okay, that
Yeah.
as a community artist, that makes me feel like, wow, there is total trust here that
Mhm.
that I am not going to do anything to let the theater down or embarrass. And the Playhouse is literally trusting me with a community program, saying, okay, we put our name on it and we know that you're going to make it happen. So that trust factor, that somebody spoke about that earlier, that's
I did
something that.
trust you. The trust, and you build the trust, and you
Mhm.
work with those that you trust, right? And you keep
Mhm.
building that web, that branch keeps going out. Because I'm going to pull in somebody that I trust, and Raj, you're going to pull in somebody that you trust, and next thing you know, we got a whole bunch of folks.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's how we all, I think that's how this community has worked. We all meet someone. Janet introduced me to Roz, and eventually being at Coppin, I got to meet Tracie, and then Tracie introduced me to Troy, and then David taught. So we're all interconnected in some way. It just takes us making that extra effort to reach out and come to a show. or direct or act or do something when you see another organization or a group of people trying to do something. So
I
we
would
know
just,
all the things. We know all the things. Go ahead, Tracie.
I would just like to say that David failed me, but we can talk about that later. After the podcast, I just wanted to say that. But we'll talk about that
But
later. Thank
but
you.
David is the type that if you say you can do this, he gonna believe you until he can't believe you. So that's a big part of it's trust, but at the same time, you're giving people that space to be creative because we can't keep on checking references every second of the moment. Sometimes you just have to mentor someone or open up a door for someone so they can. At some point, they're gonna have to learn it somehow. So that's in her saying that I just know that of Troy
but
and
no, Nate,
Rod.
that's perfect because that
Mm-hmm.
part, when you talk about the community and artists, the artist also has a responsibility to show up, right? And they have a responsibility to,
Yes.
when I met a Troy Burton, I, like he said, paperwork, and I didn't even know what I was doing. But I sent that man my resume, a little
Mm-hmm.
speech like, hey, I just met you, but I just believe that we should work together in life. But I said
You know,
all the
Tracie,
things
I
that
still
I
have
do.
that letter you wrote me. I still have
I
that
did.
letter.
I wrote the letter like, use me, Lord. Put me in, coach. I am so ready for whatever you're doing. And this was almost 20 years ago now. And from there, he had to trust, right? Well, come out and host this event. Well, come out and do this. And that led to, well, you're the managing director. Well, you're the director of the summer camp. Well, you are.
Mm.
So it evolved the more when I met a Roz, put me in, coach Roz. I'm ready. Like,
Yeah.
what we doing? And being
Mm-hmm.
able to build. But if I did not show up, if I did not say, like, nobody's going to come knock at your door and be like, come work with us because we heard you
Mm-hmm.
was fabulous in that basement. No, so
Mm-hmm.
you do have to show up. You do have to support. You do have to come out because it really is a give and take, like all things in life. So you can't
And
expect it to, well, I ain't working with them. They ain't come get me. Well, people may not be able, they may not even know that you want to be in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So being able to show up, this is what I bring to the table. This is what I work. And not being keeping your properties, your intellectual properties, your art and all of that. But if we collaborate, I feel like we can do this. And that has been the core of most of my success is okay, what we doing over here? Yes, let's go. And those relationships have turned into miracles. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, that really makes me think about the ideas of like self-empowerment. Something I've been preaching for years, and y'all know all the way back to Kaumba days. It's like you don't have to wait on somebody to give you a job. Like we have these grandiose dreams of what it might be like to be on stage at Center Stage or Everyman or the Kennedy Center or Arena Stage in DC or whatever. And all those places are great. And I hope if that's what folks want, you get those experiences. But also there's power in creating our own work and saying like, I'm not going to wait for someone to throw an audition for me to show up to do this thing that I love to do. Maybe I can get together with a group of collaborators with a seed of an idea and some grants and some mentorship and make it happen for yourself. But if you can't make it happen for yourself, because everybody's not meant to be the producer or the director, as Tracie said, that's not everybody ministry. Find your ministry and work in your ministry. But you can connect with people. There are several people out there who are going to have open arms, whether you're inexperienced or very experienced, but you just have to like find your community. Like Tracie said, show up, be engaged, maybe dream up some of your own projects and make it happen. Those days of like sitting around and waiting, it's just not there anymore. It's just like artists as self-producer. Even when you look at the younger generation where people creating TikToks and content with their phone, people making like films with their phone, a little bit of money, So I just want to encourage everybody to have that sense of like self-empowerment and belief in yourself and others in our community and trust in your own talents and the talents in our community. And we can build the type of art and the type of community that we want. It's taking a lot of time still, it's still a slow moving process, but when you're purpose driven, you have that passion, you have a meaning behind what you're doing, that's kind of all you really need.
But we have to acknowledge those disconnects. We have to understand them and acknowledge them, and not harper or focus on them, but just acknowledge them. There are things that have kept us from investing in each other or trusting each other and wanting to work with each other. There have been things that have actually happened within our culture that prevented those things. And like since me and Troy have started to talk in our small circle, just building that trust, as Tracie said, mentorship, the age gap, that idea of what's good art versus bad art, all those things have to be repaired, and we can do it as we move on, but they have to be repaired before we really begin to really want to invest in each other. And really thrive together, and stop and drop a lot of those, as you were saying, Roz, a lot of those ideas that we have to be a part of something over there that's not black or of color to be significant. You
Are
know,
you talking about revolution? It sounds like you're talking about revolution.
I'm
That is the
just,
revolution to me.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
right? I
Mm-hmm,
mean, if
mm-hmm,
we're living in a system that is never going to support anything that we do, then the
right.
revolution is for us to come together,
Mm-hmm,
right?
yeah.
And we got to keep that narrative going. We got to keep empowering ourselves in that way.
Mm-hmm,
You know what else is a huge part of the revolution? And Nate, this speaks to what you were saying as far as why folks don't want to work together and
mm-hmm.
why we do have certain issues in our community. A huge part of the revolution is accountability.
Yes, yes, yes,
A huge
yes.
part of the revolution is us as a community putting together things in place so that those people who are predators cannot operate.
Mm,
Right? We
mm,
don't even have, and I'm not even just
Yes.
talking about, there are predators, people who will take your intellectual property, they will take your art. They're predators, that prey on women, prey on men, all of these things in the community. And, there are people who have their reputations, right? And,
mm-hmm.
but there is no accountability because
Yeah,
everybody's everywhere doing their own thing.
yeah,
So that is a huge part of community too, building some sort of system, some sort of council, some sort of elder ministry, some sort of, which is a part of the mentoring. It all comes in. But again, that is a part of building that safe space, right? That
yeah.
safe space. Because
Mm,
too many people have come into, just like church, and have come into the theater and have had their dreams and souls crushed because they came in touch with the wrong soul.
my Lord.
Mm-mm.
Mm,
So I say that
Well,
that is a huge part of what we are
mm-hmm,
trying to build here. And
mm,
that comes with, we are at a this is, as far as this place in history and the things that we're able to talk about out loud, like our president says pussy, and people can speak their words. So what we're able to do with these words
mm,
right now, and the
mm-hmm.
transformative,
Right.
that's, all of that comes together. But accountability is a huge part of that because there are predators, and but we can stop them. Amen.
How do we strengthen that idea, as you brought up the word mentorship? How do we strengthen that? How do we make it so there's a system at Arena Players that Roz makes herself available, Troy makes herself available, myself and Tracie, we make ourselves available. How do we strengthen that so people feel comfortable? They're actually learning things. They're actually able to apply those things, and we're not trying to keep people captive and under our arm and hand in our individual spaces. How do we strengthen that mentorship?
Well, I think we keep paying it forward.
Mhm.
We keep showing up. That accountability piece. This a little bit in this circle, and I still think it's important. It's a little bit preaching to the choir because I feel
Mhm.
like we get it on this call. Like we get.
Right.
I saw Noah pop in. What's up, Noah Silas? I saw you.
hey,
You
Noah
Noah.
Hey,
Silence.
brother Noah. I feel like those of us who are in community doing this work, a lot of us get it. But
Yeah.
it's just about being ambassadors of that and continuing to magnify that and continuing to show up for each other and show up for shows at Arena or I know Tracie and Troy, you guys were doing the event at Terra Cafe and working with the official Black Arts District and what
Mhm.
Lady Breon and Kenneth and them trying to create in Pennsylvania on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Shout
Um,
out.
Showing up, shout out to them, right?
Yep.
Showing up for Art Centric, showing up for
Mhm.
different people that are really trying to do things around town, offering our services when we can. Like when I talk to young people, people now want to ask me questions about my career. I'm like, oh, you want to know? Like, oh, that feels weird. You want to know about my career and how I got here? So much of what I talk about is about showing up. When someone invites you to participate in a panel, they ask you to volunteer, to show up to do a workshop, whatever it is, if you can do, especially those of us who've been doing it, I think Trace at 20 plus years, Davis at 17 plus years, those of us who've been doing this in town for a really long time, taking the time to mentor, to speak to the younger generation, to offer them classes, to even sit with them and give them a tour of arena, or invite them to your rehearsal process, even if they're not in the show. Like whatever it is embracing one another and showing up for one another. And this is something I haven't really had a chance to do lately because I've been so like head down and learning this whole administrative thing at BSA, which is dreaming up projects like you thought I was him, right? Like dreaming up a project and saying, how many people can I get involved in this program? How many people can I touch, in different ways, artistically and emotionally, and motivate them to be a part of this movement? It's acting on those ideas. Somebody said earlier, being fearless, taking risk, making space for other artists to create things. I think that's how it gets magnified, and shutting those predators out. Like, no, if you coming around here with that predatory bullshit, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. You're not working in our community.
Yeah, shut it down.
But Roz, I'm not gonna act like you haven't done those things, and that's why you are at these places. Whether it be finding jobs for us Kaumba members, or always giving out tickets so people who they couldn't afford it could see quality plays, and creating processes and ways for us to get paid, and putting us in front of people like Mary Baraka or Sonia Sanchez or the Last Poets at the same damn night. Like, we're not gonna act like that doesn't happen. And even with Troy and David, like creating these processes, helping people out who Troy, I mean, y'all two just create that space and bring people in. And I think that's what we naturally have to do in order to do the work that we've done. But I mean, I just want to see that widespread. I want to see that, I want to see the Black Arts District, as you named, be successful, and not just because, of who's the executive director, but because there is a lot of energy moving through it. And the arena players bringing that energy back in. I want to see us thrive. It's one of the reasons why I haven't left for a long period of time, and I always end up back here. And I just see so much potential in the city, and I would hate to lose that. And we've lost so many of our artists to other cities because we so closed off. And hit the possibility is in these 5 people that we have talking right now and beyond. There are plenty of people. But in terms of what you think you can do, where you are, how do we feel like individually we can help this out, even without past work?
If you don't mind, I think you're hitting something, or you hit something very critical that isn't talked about enough, and that is creating replicable models, right? So we just mentioned the Black Arts District, and which is relatively new. I think in their strategic plan for that Black Arts District, they have to be purposeful in creating a replicable model so that it can be shared with other communities. Whether or not they happen to be arts districts or not, we're talking about a success and a revitalization of a community. And so is true of arena players, so is true of Blacks and Wax, so is true of UB Blake. In our reinventing ourselves, we have to document the roadmap to reinventing ourselves so that we can then share that with other members of the community, right? And to backtrack just a little bit more, I think that it's enough for us to create the space. We don't always have to build it. We don't always have to build rather the program or the offering, because there are other folks in the community that are already doing the work. So it's really about identifying those individuals in the community. I think I saw Kenneth on here.
Yes.
Kenneth has been doing the
Soga's on
film
him.
festival for a minute. You know what I'm saying? All I got to do is create the space for him to use and amplify that. You get what I'm saying?
Bring the
So
idea.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So.
I
Wait,
agree.
Kenneth is on here. Kenneth something.
no, not Ken of
Not that.
the movie festival, the Black festival, the Black Movie Festival.
Yes. Hey,
Mhm.
Kenneth. Hey, all the good people out there. I keep forgetting that it's people out there. I keep like us, but it's people.
This is how we typically talk when we get together. This is our form of conversation,
Yeah.
in part. But as we move forward for today, what would be of your dream for something future or near future for a city like Baltimore and our Black arts community?
For
Well,
me, go
I
ahead.
got. Well, I'll jump in here, and it's something that I know David has been working on. I don't know if people have been able to see the different renderings that Arena's social media pages have been posting of their full remodel of the entire
Mhm.
theater, of the lobby. If you've ever been up on the third floor space that Troy
Yes.
referred to, some of the work that's being developed up there, like we have a community hub right there on McCullough Street. It's like a great location, beautiful building. And so, a dream I would love to see is for Arena to really get that funding to do that major remodel. We've seen several theaters go up and get remodeled around us, around the city. So, I think it's time for that. My other dream is just to continue to see Troy do these amazing projects that he's doing, that he sort of incubates over an entire year and develops it, and I really think brings something out in people and shows the community what a real professional, high quality, large cast community production can look like. Just for everybody's work to just continue to be amplified in a certain way. And that funding piece, man, is really important. More equity in the funding in Baltimore, whether it comes to the festivals, like Troy said, or other things, and those models that we can recreate and replicate for ourselves, so that, you know, arena players, 60 plus years, that 60 plus years down the road, that our grandchildren are going to arena players youth theater to do things, and the Black Arts District to do things, and BSA, you know, to do things that we just I think that legacy is still alive because of people like Troy and David and, you know, Miss Orange, Mr. Owens, and all the folks, but they can't continue to do things always on their own. And so that we continue to build that engine of power and engagement in the Black art scene in Baltimore City.
I want to take a real quick moment. Did you have something to say, Tracie?
No, take your moment.
So this lady right here that's standing behind Tracie, come on, bring that face, bring that pretty
Tracie.
face.
Hey.
This is the other side of how we incorporate community into the community of art. And it's actually getting your hands dirty, connecting yourself, and doing the 360 stuff, the services. Safi is a part of a group called the Baltimore Girls, and it is a group of women who do community activism, do art projects, and do all the things that we don't think we need in order to, you know, keep the art scene in our community simultaneously coming together. But I wanted to quickly, as we are coming to a close with this, bring her on and just explain what the role of community is in our community and our arts.
Okay. So as far as me, I complained for a long time about what I didn't like and what was not this or that. And then I was like, you know what? Create it. Give of yourself, sacrifice the time, do what it takes. So I got with the ladies, the sisters, because I wanted to get real with everybody, you know, because we can't truly bond until we keep it real. Or it's fake. And I just, you know, how can we get around fake? Let's keep it real. I don't care how ugly it is. We ain't here to judge each other. then we're going to use the art. We're going to use whatever the pain is or the issue, and we're going to see how we can turn it into art so that you can get it out of your body and express it in front of people. And when you come off the stage, you better. It's nothing, you know what I mean? It's just you released it. So in the community, I also work for a foundation called Archangels. And so I'm Hollywood, Safiatu, and all of that. But the bigger mission is make sure that those in need have what they need. So I go around town and I shop and I go give people food and groceries and whatever they need. Like I just try to find out what is their need, and then see if we can get them some help. Because sometimes if it doesn't affect us in our household, we forget. But that's where all my blessings been coming from. As soon as I start giving and doing all these kind of things and working for foundations, like it's humbling. Because I know I'm Hollywood, but that's what serving and building and bridging the community. You got to put the Hollywood, I'm Hollywood, but I got to do this Mother Teresa too now. I can't be so caught up in my own world. And I mean, my blessings just come back. That's all I can say. It's like a real testimony. So the more I see how it's turning out, I keep going harder. Who needs food? I went to Safeway. I lined my trunk up with the groceries, ran down by Pennsylvania Avenue by Shake and Bake, popped their trunk. The people was flying out of their houses. That's community. I don't got to know them. I don't got to care if they high or what they going, you know what I mean? I just got to serve and give of myself. And then artistically, it's just a testimony in itself. It really is. We do the theater thing, but everybody has a gift in there. And sometimes people get elite and they don't want to find the people down in the dirty. I told my mom, Kanye's choir is full of all kinds of like drug addicts, jail people, everything. And they sing so good. I told my mother the key to my choir, if I ever start me a choir, you had to go to jail or been through some real hard stuff because it's going to come out real. And that's when it's going to touch the people. The world can feel if it's not real. If we do our art and our expression in a real way, where we're feeling it like the You Thought I Was Him and the Real Nigga Show, that thing is deep. That's where we bring the art into with the pain and start pouring it out in the community. And then people start coming up to you like, hey, I really wanted to tell you. Like, you know what I'm saying? People have told me stuff I would not have imagined just because I opened up, they opened up. And that's about helping people get free. That's my part on the earth.
So I think that's a big part of it in us getting real and showing that reality. And your give back can be whatever it is from your perspective. It doesn't have to look like anything that anybody beside you is doing. It has to come from
the give
your
back
real place.
is actually a sacrifice. What you don't feel like doing because you could be doing something else. All of these things, it's like making a real sacrifice. It's not easy to take out time like, all right, I'm just going to stop everything I got to do and go see about somebody else. And so it's whatever you sacrifice, your time, your energy, yourself, your ears, your listening, your quiet time, whatever. It's just about remembering to sacrifice and stay humble and grateful. And I don't know. I think everything we do, we should just be trying to heal the world. That's it. In our little corners, and then let it spread like a virus. That's it.
Yep.
I hope that answers your question because I'm so happy.
And more, and more, and more.
This panel is so important. And by me sitting here, I didn't even know. I should fix myself. But thank you.
Come as you are. Come as you are. Come as you are.
You look beautiful as always.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna go around real quick, but I'm gonna start with Safi. Tell people where they can find you, where they can support your cause, and what you have coming up next.
Okay, so I am Safiatu. People call me Safi, and I go by Safi underscore SAFI underscore ology OLOGY on Instagram. You can go over there and check out anything, anywhere. Hit me on a DM. I'm a creative director. I'm a visionary. I'm a visual artist. I'm a people person. I'm a revolutionary. I'm all the things. I'm the one that's going to touch it and bring the magic that maybe someone didn't see could come out even more. So I'm the girl with the golden hands. I do badass haircuts. That's all I do. I'm retired. I was a hairstylist for 30 years. Now I just do badass cuts and go about my business and get the theater stuff going. And up next is Mars, live from Mars, because DJ Tons and I have been the best of friends for 20, 30 years. He's always done my music for my shows and stuff. But we want to bring the art to the party. You know, we want you to see visual art. We want you to see lighting design. We want the theatrics. We want the stardust to fall out the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So it's a way to kind of turn it up. You know, turn up our socializing and make it real grown and stop making the music so fast because we can't breathe. We too old for that. So we're trying to just change, because I'm a vibe curator. So I want to change the game a little bit, because I don't know what happened after COVID, but it's not right and it's not fun. And we deserve a break today.
And happy early birthday to you, Miss.
Thank you. My birthday is tomorrow, everyone. And I am happy to be alive. I've been through health challenges since 2011. And so many times doctors, my family don't even know how I'm still alive. But I give God all the glory for keeping me here, because I'm not finished. That's why I'm all in everybody's face, doing all these things all over the world, because it's time. And tomorrow is not promised. And I love that what you guys are doing, all the artistry and bonding, because that's why I just been a hurt artist wandering around Baltimore, because people didn't want to be together and be real and try to figure it out together. You know what I'm saying? They will all put it on me, and nobody want to do nothing but show up when the lights, camera, action come on. And that's not what we do. Everybody is good at something, great at something, and we put it together like a big tree. You feel me? So I appreciate you guys and doing this togetherness, this real Black unity stuff. I'm here for it.
Thank you, Safi. Come by the studio and I'll mix up a special brew for you.
Oh, yeah, I got projects for you. I need this funky metal headband. I got the materials for you. I'm coming for you, Nate.
I need go over. I got you. We gonna go to Mr. David. And you give your closing remarks and let us know where you at, what you need, what's coming up for Arena, what's coming up for artist David. I don't care what you say. And let us know what you need, where you at, and how can people find you. Your social media is already down there. So how can people find you?
There you go. You got the social media. Well, look, I mean, my last statement really for the panel, for those folks that did tune in this evening and will tune in over the week, is now is the time more than ever. I think that we all have an opportunity to be unified in our efforts and develop a certain amount of autonomy, one that's actually not so dependent on state institutional funding and or city funding and or foundation funding. There's enough wealth within our community to sustain ourselves, and so that's my hope and desire, is that the conversations like this will continue more abundantly, more strategy in and outside of the art sector, because now is the time like no other. You can always reach me, very reachable. through these handles here, but also I pretty much live at the Playhouse. So
He's there right now.
yeah, I'm there right now. So we're the kind of place where you can walk through the front door and you'll get hello, how you doing, as opposed to what you want. And we're always someone on staff is always going to talk to you. You know what I mean, and try and see how best to help you. If not that, then hit me on email. Email is actually on our website. Visit the website, and understand that this institution has been around so long because it's an all volunteer organization. That is 100% volunteer. We're going on 69 years, y'all.
69. Wow.
We're going on 69 years, 100% volunteer organization. So it's possible. It's possible to have that dream. Not that we don't want to get paid.
We will.
I mean, by day though, I work with Baltimore City Recreation and Parks Special Events Division. So by day, I'm helping you get a permit and or putting on an event somewhere else in the city. That's in one of our green spaces. So,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. We gonna jump on over to the great magical Negro herself.
Hello world. Let me see what you have there. So Nate, the Instagram is there's Magical Negro 76.
Okay.
That's me. But the arts company is The Art of Truth on IG. And that you have to put the Art of Truth, and that is my arts hub. You can find all things art, Tracie Jiggetts, and of course the Facebook is Tracie Jiggetts. That's a CIE, 2 G's, 2 T's, and an S for super. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say, but what I'm going to say is that I just see myself as a creative space curator, right? I am a vessel for freedom. My message is that you are the art, right? So I take this art thing and I just have this fire in my belly. Remember we did that show? I have a fire in my belly for my city, for this Baltimore thing, for this art thing. It is something so magical about putting arts in education. And oh my goodness, it is mind-blowing to see people free themselves, become free, for those light bulbs to come on, for people to receive message. And that's really what the arts does for me. So I just try to be that voice to the voiceless. Tracie Jiggetts, what am I? I'm an arts educator. I'm a director, writer, choreographer, and all things life, all things good. And I just love this. I love all of y'all. Thank you for listening.
Over and out. We're going to go around to Miss Roz real quick.
Hello. I just want to say thank you, a special thank you to Nate and Troy for their invitation here on this fine evening to be a part of this podcast. The wonderful artists that are on this call. I just feel very grateful and humble to be a part of this community. You can reach me. My handles and stuff are there. Also, you can find me at BSA. I'm there all the time. I live there. Drop me a line. Go to the bsfa.org and all of my contact information is there. I am really inspired after this call to keep working to help people get free. I heard people on the call talking about getting free. I heard people on the call talking about revolution and accountability and trust and safe space and feeding the people. So we just got to keep that going, whether we're feeding the people's soul through the art or actually taking food around town, like Safi was talking about, to feed the people and meet them where their needs are. Let's just keep doing that, being there for each other as community artists right here in the great city of Baltimore. So I give thanks for all of you and for being here. Very much looking forward to supporting and seeing You Thought I Was Him. So this isn't going to be the last conversation. You might see me pop up in the writer's room or a discussion or
they ain't ready. They not ready.
I am here for it. I'm here for You Thought I Was Him. So let's keep supporting each other in this arts and community thing that we all know and love. So peace and blessings.
And we're going to end off with Mr. Burton himself.
Oh wow, it's my turn. Okay. I was surprised when David said Arena is 69. For some reason, I had a different number. It was a little lower. But I've been a part of the Playhouse for 35 of those 69 years. And that's why I'm home with my family. So all that stuff you got on there, yeah, those handles, that's me. You can find me there. And I'm just happy. But I want to thank David and Roz for coming on, because it just, when you have your community there supporting you in a project, that elevates the project to a whole nother level. And this project is all about community. And that's my work I do. You know, I could have gone to New York. We talked about all that other stuff, but this is my thing. Community in Baltimore, creating production. Safi mentioned the Real Nigga Show, which actually next year will be 20 years old. That's why one of the reasons why we're doing You Thought I Was Him, because everything that you see structured here and talking about the phases of the project, the writer's room, and all the community conversations were things that I did with the Nigga Show in developing that piece. And that was just something that I was just like improving my way through. Now you're seeing the actual formal structure. So I plan to do more projects like that. I plan to, continuing mentoring and empowering others in the arts community, and really working with them about producing and directing and making projects like this breathe, making sure our African-American Black artists in Baltimore, we are writing grants and getting funding as individual artists, so that we can keep telling our stories and telling them our way. So that's all I got to say. I'm just grateful that everybody's here. Love Tracie Jiggetts. And I want to give a shout out. One of our writers, Easy Jackson, lost his brother. And I want to say publicly, we love Easy Jackson, and we're right there with you.
Yes.
We love you, Easy.
Yes. Light and love. Love. So this has been an edition of You Thought I Was Him podcast. As we proceed, we will be back next month with another little snippet, another new panel, another new conversation. So you never know who's going to pop up on the screen. You Thought I Was Him. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Follow all the things that are going on, our conversations. We have another conversation coming up this month, so you'll be seeing some snippets of that. I'll play a little snippet from our first one at the end of this. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for taking the time. Many blessings to you all. And please share this out if you're watching this. Share it with your friends, your cousin, all of them. Peace out.
A Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Thank you, Nate. You the hostess with the mostest.
Yes,
Thank
Nate.
you.
That was beautiful. Beautifully.
I think that there's a way to look. Black people have been in a space so long where we look at peace of mind and dignity as luxuries, right? Like, you can't be tired. Like, you depressed. You depressed. Get up and go to work, right? And so I think that that's the trauma, right? But there's a way to pass history down without passing down the trauma. Yeah. And what I hear you asking is to pass down, not, would you please not pass your trauma down too much, right? We have to find a balance, right? Because we're out of communication. And this is a medium for that communication where we get to talk. But what we have to be careful as the older people, I'm 51, to hear what younger people are asking. Right. This is not a what's more important or who's better or who's this or I had this and you had this. This is saying I don't know that part of you, help me learn that, right? And let me teach you who I am. Right. Yes. Because who I am as an individual is important, and we did that for them. And he's saying, we know you did that, but let us have this now. Because we are grown ups. See our heads.
We're out. We're off air.
Everybody's gone.
Thank you.
We're here.